Think about your most distant ancestor. Keep going past the powdered wigs and the chainmail, right down to a guy squatting in the dirt, chewing on a beetle, and just trying to make it to sundown. He has no name, no shoes, and absolutely no idea that you, a distant descendant with a snack addiction and a mild caffeine dependency, are currently sitting in a comfortable room watching a screen. If that guy, or anyone in the thousands of generations between you two, had tripped at the wrong moment or failed to reproduce, your entire ancestral chain would be broken. Everything below that single link vanishes instantly. Your presence here is a sheer statistical anomaly, the hard-won outcome of thousands of narrow escapes and an unbroken chain of biological stubbornness. To see how close you came to never existing, we have to look at the gauntlets they ran. 20,000 years ago, during the last glacial maximum, massive ice sheets 2 miles thick smothered huge chunks of the planet. Global temperatures dropped by 10 degrees Fahrenheit, turning the world into a frozen wasteland where early humans were hunted by massive cave lions. Survival was a daily grind of avoiding hypothermia and evading animals the size of school buses. Without modern medicine, even a simple infected cut from a sharp rock was a lethal threat. Despite these constant pressures, Homo sapiens persisted. They mastered fire, invented bone needles to stitch animal hides together, and even created early art, such as the cave paintings at Lascaux. Roughly 10,000 years ago, humans attempted to leave this nomadic life behind. They traded the constant hunt for permanent settlements, hoping to secure their food supply by planting crops like wheat and barley. This shift brought a wave of new biological stresses. Living in close quarters allowed infectious diseases to jump through populations, while a heavy reliance on grain rotted their teeth and left entire villages vulnerable to starvation during a single drought or flood. This transition to agriculture exchanged the immediate danger of megapredators for a systemic, inescapable biological vulnerability that plagued early farmers for millennia. These vulnerabilities only scaled up as populations grew. By the 13th century, a man-made filter appeared in the form of the Mongol invasions. Led by Genghis Khan, the Mongols carved out the largest contiguous land empire in history. Their strategy relied on lethal speed and total destruction. Entire cities were wiped off the map, resulting in the deaths of an estimated 10% of the entire global population at the time. Soon after, in 1347, humanity faced an even deadlier biological threat. Carried by fleas and rats, the Black Death swept out of Central Asia and tore through Europe and the Middle East. Densely packed, unhygienic medieval cities were the perfect environment for the bacterium Yersinia pestis to spread. Symptoms included giant swollen lymph nodes and internal bleeding, with death often following within days of the first fever. The plague wiped out between 30 and 60% of Europe's population. The most sophisticated medical response of the era involved doctors wearing bird-like masks filled with flowers to block the smell of death. The disasters of the 13th and 14th centuries demonstrate how expanding human footprints and dense cities became the primary drivers of our near extinction. The closest humanity ever came to total deletion occurred 74,000 years ago. The explosion of the Toba supervolcano in Indonesia remains the most catastrophic event our species has ever endured. The eruption launched over 670 cubic miles of ash into the atmosphere. This massive cloud blotted out the sun and triggered a volcanic winter that lasted for nearly a decade. Global temperatures plummeted by 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Without sunlight, the plants that sustained the food chain died off, causing ecosystems to collapse and leaving early human populations with almost nothing to eat. This triggered what scientists call a genetic bottleneck, a sharp reduction in population size that leaves a species with a dangerously small pool of survivors. The total human population on Earth shrunk to fewer than 3,000 individuals. Every human alive today is a direct descendant of that tiny, desperate group of survivors. They spent their lives in freezing darkness, yet managed to keep the lineage alive. Survival during the Toba winter relied on raw, desperate endurance on a planet that had turned entirely hostile to life. Human history offers no comforting moral. You exist solely because of an unbroken chain of biological stubbornness in the face of absolute doom. Your ancestors overcame 2-mile-thick ice, global plagues, mass starvation, and skies choked with volcanic ash, all to pass their DNA down to someone who gets stressed when their phone battery hits 10%. You are the miracle they fought mammoths for. Pay respect to your battle-hardened lineage and hit subscribe before natural selection catches up with you.